Recording from Arsenal Studio B in Chandler, Arizona, this is MayaCast. Welcome to another edition of MayaCast. I'm your host, Tom Shadle.
And I'm your host, Kip Arcel.
And this is episode 132 for Friday, May 12th, 2017. Hooked on Onyx.
It works for me.
Coming up on today's show, we will talk about some of the lore of the Onyx Contact Force, and we will do our ever-popular lists on a budget. And then Kip will have a list on a actually, we both have a list on a non-budget.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about some units and some stuff and the sectorial and all that cool stuff. Of course, focusing on its use in ITS. And so we'll talk about all that stuff. But first,
Yes.
there's a new kid on the block. Corvus Belli revealed last Friday in trailer form that they are coming out with a new game later this year. And so sometimes in the next 8 months.
Oh, that's true.
And
month 5.
wait, it's May?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so 7 months. Yeah. Even better. They're coming out with a new game, Aristeia!
And I am stoked.
And you have to say it like that because there's an exclamation point. Yeah. And Aristeia had that really cool Marvel Comics movie, Marvel Studios intro trailer that I thought was really cool. And Datasphere and Beasts of War both had little articles with some information. And so what is Aristeia? Well, from a lore perspective, Aristeia is the gladiatorial combat game that's super popular on television, except it's not television, it's MayaNet.
Yeah, on the Maya.
And it's a super popular form of entertainment. And I just said, so long-time listeners, you know to drink.
Yes. I think it's the second one already.
And so they are making a board game, brand new board game, not another tabletop miniatures game. It is set in the same universe as Infinity, right? But it's a spin-off where two players face off against each other, and they manage two teams of 4 players each. And for the greatest show in the human sphere.
Yes.
And you face each other in an arena, which I think we got a glimpse of in that movie trailer. There's that hex pattern arena, right? And and it says you have to plan your actions carefully to win. So there's going to be a planning element.
Nice. So there was the question of, is it independent from Infinity? And yes.
It's a board game, so of course.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Aristeia, the board game. Not a miniature war game. So it's been designed from scratch, but it's supposed to be parallel. So I guess the minis are going to be to scale, correct?
I don't know. It's a parallel. It's the same universe. Only time will tell. Details of the miniatures have not been revealed.
True. That's what I was assuming when it said parallel product. So, yeah, it says the actions happen in the Infinity universe. Maybe that's what they mean by parallel. Parallel universes. And the game shares some characters and introduces new ones. So we saw some of those. There were some pretty interesting characters. Musashi, you saw a glimpse of
Musashi for sure, yeah. We know the brand new one, Major Luna, right? She just got an Infinity profile.
But it looked like Bill Elliott was in there somewhere.
Yeah, Wild Bill. We've seen clips about Wild Bill in the lore books in Infinity and HSN 3, and that definitely has to be Wild Bill pictured there. But everybody else seems to be brand new.
Yeah, I didn't recognize too many other people by pausing. It's like watch trailer and pause,
Flips through pretty fast. So it's coming out sometime in 2017, like we said, in the next 7 months before the end of the year. And but the cool thing is, if you go to Gen Con, or if you go to Essen Spiel, or if you go to the Interplanetario, you will be able to demo the game early.
Oh, yeah.
So super stoked for working Gen Con at the CB booth. And you're one of my booth babes, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I'm going to be wearing a bikini top and then not bottoms.
Bikini. So we're going to be demoing the Aristeia board game at Gen Con. So if you can make it, swing by the Corvus Belli booth. It won't cost you nothing except maybe like 20 minutes, half an hour of your time. And try out the board game, play through a turn or whatever. Or if you're going to Spiel in Essen, Germany, or the Interplanetario in Vigo, Spain, you can play some demo games of the brand new Aristeia. So excited.
Yeah, no, I'm super stoked. Looks like they're going to be having a official website soon. Not up yet, but they will have a own website, its own social network, and you can visit the official website is Aristeia the Game. Imagine that. .com. If you would like to know more in the future. So
and we'll have a link to that in the show notes, of course. But Aristeia is Aristeia. Little triphthong there at the end. Aristeiathegame.com. And so not much there now.
I am extremely excited for this, though, because, like, remember wasn't it last Gen Con that we were like trying to perfect like some Aristeia-esque rules?
Yeah, we were
in the hotel room.
We were talking about them, and we were
maybe running the league,
throwing stuff on the table. And this is not going to be like any of that.
None.
It's not going to use the infinity rules at all.
Yeah, I like that though because it's going to be something completely new.
It'll be a very cool game. So. That's Aristeia. I hope everybody is as hyped as I am, and I hope the hype can continue for 7 months.
True.
So cool trailer. Good job, Carlos. Really well done. Now let us remind everybody about our current painting competition.
Ladies and gentlemen, the MayaCast Masterclass.
So, if you have not heard already, quarter 2 is well underway for the MasterGlass competition, and this quarter it is alive.
It's alive.
So you must do your best rendition of the Alive crew. Must follow all of the rules for ITS for conversions. So don't go get other models from other games and be like, here it is. It's got to be mainly Infinity models.
Here's my 40K Cypher.
Yeah, exactly.
As Cypher.
Yeah, that would be clever, though.
Here's a light switch as Switch.
That would be clever, though.
I probably just ruined Tor Swanson's entry. Sorry, Tor.
And then you could have, like, for Kiss, like, Gene Simmons doll. Yes, you cannot do any of that. So
wearing a bridle. So he's got the bit in his mouth.
Oh, that's so good. So yes, don't do any of those funny things. But yes, do your best renditions. Tell a story. Be creative. If you missed that show, go back and listen to it so you can hear some of Tom's ideas. He had some really cool creative ways of how he viewed Alive. But do all that and send it all in one email with before pictures, date stamped, time stamped.
But hey, just to be clear, since you said that, it is not a painting contest on your version of my vision of the characters. This is all about your vision.
I'm just saying, get ideas.
So yeah, it's not. You don't have to. But yeah. Anyway, you know what I mean.
Yes. Once you're done, yes, we do need, as always, the time-stamped photo to show that they are new and you haven't done it. Please do not share them before you send them in because you will ruin it and we will probably disqualify you. We want everything to be new and exciting. But you send all of those pictures up to, I think we said 6 this time around, I believe so.
There's 4 models, so we were going to let them do 8.
8 pictures, there you go.
Front and back for each, or however you wanted to break it down.
Yeah, 8 pictures each, all in one email, labeled Thomas Shadle 1. Thomas Shadle 2, Thomas Shadle 3, so that it's a lot easier for us to sift through, and then you don't get lost.
So the Alive crew has, a few more months to go for everybody, right? Until Interplanetario. What I'm kind of hoping is that we know the winner will be able to assign them to their chosen faction as a permanent fixture. Here, Golden Ron, you're going to be a permanent fixture. Yeah. But what I'm kind of... So they've got you can take them individually, irregularly, or you can take them as the entire group as regular troops. And I'm hoping that everybody maintains the irregular versions. And the winning faction is the only one that gets the package deal where you can take them all as regular troops.
That would be a great idea.
That's what I hope.
That would be an absolute great idea.
And everybody still gets to use them, and they'll be able to sell 8 times as many models as they would normally.
That's true,
And you get to keep your cool conversions. But yeah, I cannot wait to see and they don't have to be conversions. They can be stock models that you paint in a unifying scheme or somehow, differentiate that they are characters. But I can't wait to see all the creative ideas that you guys come up with. The more entries we get, the more prizes we give out. And did you do this? I don't think you did this. You can send all of those entries to...
Did not do that, but Kip@MayaCast.com and...
Tom at MayaCast.com.
It's so weird doing it backwards.
And then I don't know why you did it. And in case did you mention about naming the files?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thomas
cool.
Shadow 1, Thomas
See,
Shadow 2,
I
Thomas
don't even
Shadow
listen to you.
3.
I apologize. All right.
Let's do it.
So we talked about Aristeia. We talked about the MayaCast MasterGlass Q2 Alive team. And now let us get into the episode proper and let us discuss the background of the Onyx Contact Force.
Infinity Archives. Would you like to know more?
So there's not a ton of lore about the Onyx Contact Force. It's the newest addition to the Combined Army and to the Infinity lore as a whole. For more information on the Combined Army itself, though, and their search for transcendence and all that good stuff, please reference episode 89.
Goodness gracious.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
Episode 89 of MayaCast is the basic Combined Army background lore that we did. So, the EI, the Evolved Intelligence, it's a hegemony of many races that they've collected in their search for transcendence. And they're always seeking new life, new civilizations, boldly,
where no alien has gone before.
estimating the new life form's worth and value to Project Transcendence. Now, the cartographers are the explorers of the Ur hegemony. They're ever seeking these new races, ever seeking out new territories. They're always hidden. They're never seen. Secrecy, invisibility is sort of their maxim, And so they go around and they collect data on new systems, new civilizations, and they compile a preliminary analysis, right? For the Evolved Intelligence, and they send it back along with the system's location. And then they move on to find another one. So if the Evolved Intelligence, if the EI deems the new contact beneficial to Project Transcendence, then the next step is to send in the Onyx Contact Force.
Okay.
Onyx Contact Force is composed of the most elite components of the Combined Army and all of its different races that make it up. Contact forces are found throughout the universe. They are on alert inside their Harbinger starships, waiting for the command to go. And they can go immediately once the EI finds a place for them to, go meet.
Well, hello.
And the contact forces are numbered. So it's always like the Onyx 5 contact force or the Onyx 8 contact force.
So they're kind of like SEAL Team 6.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
But like super evil.
Yeah.
And their ships have these Harbinger starships. They have jump capabilities so they can navigate the wormholes that connect the systems. Because space is incomprehensibly vast. right? And the only obstacle, though, is time. Time to find the correct wormhole, time to traverse it, time to get to you. But the artificial and eternal evolved intelligence has infinite amounts of time.
Oh, that's very true.
So it will find you. No civilization, colony, planet, or race is beyond its reach. So the mission of the Onyx Contact Force is annexation or death. It doesn't seem as good as cake or death.
Yeah.
I choose cake. Oh, what? We're all out of cake. So annexation or death, they consider these diplomatic actions. And when contacted, a new civilization is visited by... Now, that doesn't mean they're new. They could be extremely advanced. But compared to the millennia-old hegemony and the rationalists, every new civilization, every civilization is new, rather. So when they're contacted, they're visited by a delegation from the hegemony, and it's led by a plenipotentiary, which is an EI aspect, like a Skivoros or an Avatar.
Okay.
But this one is designed for diplomacy.
It's a nice one.
Right. I thought the Avatar was designed for diplomacy.
Yeah, right.
Sepsitor. And so the plenipotentiary, the blah, offers the civilization the opportunity to join voluntarily.
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 Yeah, voluntarily is the right word.
Oh, what a great slip. You peacefully join us. It's your choice. Dealing directly, because this is an aspect of the EI. This is not an Umbra, right? This is not a Morat officer. This is the EI itself, speaking through one of its constructs. And they being the hegemony, the EI, sees that as a sign of great respect, almost a gift that they give to these new people. Like, you're dealing with the top dog, And so, take your time, assess the benefits of membership. We'll wait, you get back to us. But in their millennia of experience, Kip, they have learned, they being the hegemony, the have learned that stupidity and ignorance far exceed intelligence and wisdom in the universe.
Makes sense.
And so they've been to Walmart. And many of the species that they present this excellent opportunity to still prefer their own freedom and their own sovereignty, and therefore they must be re-educated.
So good.
So the next step, here's the thing. We're super cool. You're not. We'll let you be super cool with us if you want, and it's clearly the only decision. Let us know. And they're like, no, we kind of like being our own thing. So now the next step, after they say no, is a demonstration of power.
Okay.
Is required next. Like blowing up one of the planets in the system, for example, like they did to the Morats.
True. Death Star status.
Yeah. So, demonstration of power. Wiping out their military centers, whatever it might be. And if the civilization continues to balk at this grand opportunity they've been presented, and they continue to rebel, then it is finally the duty of the Onyx Contact Force to eliminate them and eradicate them from existence.
Okay.
Annexation or death. Cake or death. Flag. Do you have a flag? No flag, no country. It's the rules that I've just made up. The Onyx Contact Force are led by the Umbra, whose ancient name is Ma'atzani, which translates to the genocidal. So they are more than up to the task of eradicating the existence of entire cultures. Worst case scenario, the Contact Force continues their bludgeoning of the planetary defenses, or whatever it is, until the rest of the combined army can follow along and get there to finish off the job. But usually the contact force is more than up to the task. Because you can't have these upstart rebels left to come back stronger some other day.
Right.
Thorn in your side. So your choice is annexation, become part of the hegemony, or total annihilation. Take your time. Think about it. The hegemony it's eternal. It's been around forever. It's massive. It's massively huge. You can't comprehend the numbers and the billions of star systems they've been to and taken over civilizations and whatnot. It's more powerful than you can possibly imagine. It is superior to you, young civilization that we've just met, by many orders of magnitude. So be a part of the greatest civilization in the universe of all time, or cease to exist as a people. These are your choices. And hey, guess who's shown up to Paradiso and just met the humans? Our turn.
Yeah.
For the ultimatum. The Onyx Contact Force is in elite formation, as I said at the beginning. Chosen from the best available units from all the different races that make up the combined army. Now, the guy out there that's like putting rules and fluff together, and he's like, the best units, they don't even have a blah, 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
So remember when I just said they're the oldest and most massive and most powerful civilization ever in the universe? Well, those are the people that said these are the best units, so your opinion is invalid.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, so you've got the Shezvasti, like Sam likes to call them, frog bugs. You have the Morats, space monkeys. The Sigma, who are the Toha that have gone over to the combined army. And then you have the EI constructs, right? Your Imitrons and Icadrons and Dr. Worm and all that stuff. And they've been chosen for their adaptability and their self-sufficiency because they're on these ships and they're waiting and then they go strike and they're not getting support, right? They're acting all by themselves for long periods of time so they can act outside of the civilization for as long as it takes. The heterogeneous nature, is that a good word? The lots of different elements all together of an Onyx Contact Force allows for faster assimilation of newly annexed races into the combined army as like additional military units, because they're exposed to all aspects of the combined army.
I see.
And the hegemony, rather than just like if the Morats show up and they conquer you, now all you know how to deal with is the Morat aggression force. And then you meet Shezvasti and you're like, what are these weirdos?
Yeah, right?
Like, just look at me when you talk. What is wrong with you? Totally different than the Morats, right? So, so there's a little bit of everything in there so that as you add to your army, they get exposed to the whole deal at once. Makes it gooder. Shock and awe, Kip. That's their war doctrine. Shock and awe. A massive show of force, and then maneuverability and hiding and secrecy are its, battle tenets.
They certainly have that in the army.
Yeah, the Shezvasti are invisible. They're the scouts. And in fact, all of the Shas units that are in the army have TO camouflage.
Yeah, exactly.
The Morats are their core shock units. The Sigma are security forces, while the Batroid units form the heavy support and the tactical support. And all of it is led by the Umbra, who they call the right claw of the evolved intelligence.
The right claw
instead of the right hand.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
The Umbra lead the show, and massive damage and surprise and join us or die is, Onyx Contact Force is join us or die. So that's the bit with the stuff. And now we're going to have, like we always do, some lists on a budget and then some lists on not a budget, and we'll talk about some of the units and what sort of makes up the army.
Enemy of my enemy is my friend.
If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles.
Very heavy resistance, sir.
Yes. But why are they using such primitive weapons?
Now entering the war room.
Okay, so before we tell you what Onyx Contact Force has, I want to talk about what they don't have.
Do it, yeah, because I was like, I know at least most people out there are saying the same thing about at least one of those.
I feel like there are 2 units, because of the background, I feel like there are 2 units from the Combined Army that are missing. Right? This is not game balance. This is not rules. This is not, I really wish I had more of X or Y from an ITS standpoint. This is just from reading the background. There are 2 Combined Army units that are missing that ought to be in the Onyx Contact Force. Number 1, Speculo Killer.
Yes. I was saying that the whole time you were reading in my mind.
So the background on the Speculo and then the story of the Speculo that infiltrated the Pan-Oceanian ship or whatever it was outside of Paradiso. They infiltrate the society before first contact. And they get in there and they learn the military. They infiltrate the military. They infiltrate politics. And they figure out how it works and all the information they can. So they're there before anybody. So they should be part of the first contact force, right? So that's my one thing.
I would agree with that. 100%.
In fact, between segments, Kip is like, how there's all that stuff and the secrecy and the infiltration. They don't have a speculo. And then I flipped around my notes. I'm like, see? The other one is the Raziat.
That is a very fair assessment.
He is the Morat 80 combat jump troop. And the Raziat, his designation on Army Builder is the diplomatic division.
Yeah.
And no one says join us or die like the Raziat. Read the Raziat's background, read the Onyx background, and try and figure out how he did not make the cut.
I wonder if fluff reasons since they have the Fracta, they were like, well, we do have the Raziat, but the Fracta has its symbiont armor, so it's it has its jump form and then its survival form, so maybe it was a little bit more robust to handle wars of attrition.
Onyx straight up are the diplomats, and they didn't bring the diplomatic division.
But yes, that's a fair assessment.
All right.
Why not have both?
Blah, 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 blah.
Shots, I mean, the Speculo, though. I'm a little bummed about that. Because it still sticks with the invisibility. So you got 3 TO camo units. And then you have 1 impersonator. Like, that's way more better.
Way betterer.
Yeah, way betterer. So, what you will notice is, sticking to what Tom said about the eliteness, there are very few choices to choose from because it is the creme de la creme. Like, you can't even scroll left or right. They're just all right there in front of you.
Oh, I have to scroll.
Oh yeah, I'm on full screen. They're just all right there.
Yeah, your screen is larger than mine.
So what do you get? Usually, when looking at a sectorial faction like this, you're like, well, what are my Fireteam options, and what do I get more of and less of? Because that's why you take them. So, Fireteam options. It's cool because you do have a really good mix of Fireteams. So you have 2 core versions in the Unitron Batroids. And those are going to be like your cheapy, only ballistic skill 11, BTS 6, by the way. Kind of like the cheap option, right? But then you have the Rodox, which aren't too much expensive either, but they're a little bit more robust with higher armor. So those are going to be like your 2 like main core?
They're both core. Mm-hmm. The Unidrons are total availability, and the Rhodoks are availability 5, so you can form core teams out of just those units for sure.
Yeah, totally. Then you also have, and like we'll get into like what's good and bad about each one after this. Your other fire team, you have a Haris in your Zeodrons. They get themselves into some hairy situations. Those are going to be formed with your Umbra Samaritan. So you get one team of that. You do have availability.
C-, says Willie.
Right? C-. Yeah, so you need an Umbra Samaritan, and you get those Zeodrons. That's your Haris team. And the only other one that you're going to be using... It's not necessarily like fire team. It's more of like for mobility is the Suriats. So they have duo.
Suriats being more at heavy infantry.
Yeah, but they're only availability 2. So
not the super heavy infantry, but the heavy infantry.
Yeah, like your armor 4. So when and where do you take these?
Well, now hang on. So yes, you've got the Samaritan plus 2 Zeodrons, Harrys. And Rhodoks core, Unidrons core, but there are other options for the core units.
Yes.
Rhodoks, you can take 5 Rhodoks, but you can also take up to 4 Rhodoks plus a Nexus Hacker. Or, well, the words just follow that way. There are different versions of Nexus other than Hacker. I apologize to all Nexus kind. Up to 4 Rhodoks plus Nexuses. Or... a Legat, or a Samaritan. So 4 Rhodoks plus 1 of either of those 3 things can join the 4 Rhodoks. Unidron's a little more complicated.
I like the Unidrons for this reason.
You can take up to 4 Unidrons plus a Nexus. Or up to 4 Unidrons plus an Umbra Legat. Or you can take up to 3 Unidrons plus an Umbra Legat plus a Nexus. So a little more complicated in the fire team building there.
Yeah, they're not as straightforward as most.
Or maybe not complicated, but more options.
Yes, and I like that, though. I think that's why I kind of like the Unidrons, because of those options. One of the main things I had about them for their pros was the versatility. Because then you can take a Hacker in the Nexus and a Uber Legat with a Spitfire, so you get that heavy fire support, and then they have inexpensive plasma weapons.
And you're talking about the Unidrons right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just starting off with the Unidrons, and that's not too expensive, because most of the Unidrons you can take at 14 or 15 points. So it's like less than like 100 and some odd points for that fire team, which is really nice. They have 2 levels of unconscious. So if you have your Dr. Worm, which you're most likely going to have because it's the only model with decharges in the entire army, we'll throw that out there. You have a couple slave drones going out there. It's really nice to have that extra level of toughness. Being remotes, they're not subjective to
the 2 levels of unconscious.
Yeah, well, they're
shock immune.
Yeah, they're shock immune. They're dogged if need be. That can be helpful if you end of the game and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna stay dogged because I don't have a turn after this. So those are really nice. So I think they're pretty versatile in that. I like that you have 2 different hacker options. Like I was saying, you could go Nexus Hacker with your Umbra Spitfire instead of the go-to before Onyx, which for me was the Legat Hacker version because it was my favorite. It's like, why take a Spitfire when I can run around and be a specialist and cyber mask and do all that neat stuff? I like that they're BTS 6, so if you do get hit with like viral weaponry or nano pulsars, that they're pretty beefy on that.
Add in the guy with the tin bot, they become virtually unhackable.
Yeah, seriously,
unhackable enough that the other person really has to think about, is this a wise choice? So, the Unidron. So, some people, and I know I've mentioned this before on the show, so don't make this mistake. They will take the Nexus Hacker and put him in with the Unidrons, And they think, yeah, then they're all there together, so my hacker can buff my remotes to give them marksmanship or whatever. And here's the problem with that strategy. If you activate one model in a fire team, all of the models count as having activated, even if they idle.
Yeah.
So you might have your plasma sniper and your missile launcher Unitrons up on a building, and your Nexus Hacker all nice and safe inside that building where nobody can see him. And you're like, okay, I'm going to spin an order, and the Nexus Hacker is going to put assisted fire on the plasma sniper, and which is really dirty because of the template to get no cover for armor or to hit. Ugh.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's brutal.
Right? And they say, okay, well, I'm going to shoot the plasma dude.
For free.
Yeah. With a normal roll, because the entire link team activates. So I prefer to keep my Nexus Hacker out of the fire team so that he can, while they're in position, he can buff them without generating AROs to them.
Yeah, and I agree. That was actually one of my what I was going to say, some of the downfalls of those is if you are going to create a fire team and you do want to do a hacker version of that, you're going to want to assess how your fire team is going to go. Are you going to go defensive? Because if you're going to go defensive, you don't really want the hacker, like Tom said, in your group. If you want offensive, where they're moving through the battlefield and you're utilizing one of the Nexus hackers as a specialist to accomplish goals, then yeah, that's awesome. And then you can have the dual fire support to help them out. The only way around in that situation, you can actually use the hacker to buff those guys if need be, because you're moving and you can position them where they're out of line of fire.
Nobody sees them.
Yeah, use your hacker to buff them up and then move.
Solid point. Depends on how you're using that fire team. If you're using them as a defensive or movers and shakers, and they're able to do that because they are 4/4.
Yeah.
Despite their appearance, that might make you believe they'd be like a 4/2 kind of slow dude, but they are not. They truck.
Yeah, the only one of the downfalls about being remotes as well. So one of the cons of this,
you're never dodging.
Yeah, dodging at physique 10. You cannot cautious move. So
let's stick with the dodge for a second. So you're at 10. You're a remote, so you're at 7.
Yes.
Okay, and then if it's somebody that comes around the corner, and you're like, I'll dodge, change face, or I'm dodging a template from out of line of fire. You're a 4.
Yeah.
Always fire back.
Yeah, exactly.
Always fire back.
Especially if you're 4-man strong. Like take use of that 6. That's level 2 while you have it.
Explain what you mean by that.
Yeah. So fire team rules. At 5-man, you get +3 to your ballistic skill. That's what makes them kind of good while you're at 5-man. They're at 14. If you get knocked down to 4, you have 6th Sense level 2 to rely on. So I'm actually going backwards. Let's go. At 3 men, you get extra burst in both phases. Burst here, only your leader in your active. Burst everybody in their reactive. When you bump up to 4, not only do you get their extra burst to their weaponry, but you also gain 6th Sense level 2, which allows you to not be surprise assaulted or surprise attacked. And if somebody shoots you from out of line of fire, the target of that attack can shoot back. So as if they had line of fire, which is nice. Then when you get up to 5, you get that extra 3 to your ballistic skill, +3 mod to your ballistic skill. So that's what I mean. Like, as long as you're a 4-man strong, it kind of helps out with the dodging, because then you don't have to, as long as they shoot. Like, if they shoot you in the back or with a template weapon and it hits all of them, as long as they can draw a line of fire from there, they can shoot the guy back because they were targeted, which is awesome. I don't like one of the things is the not being able to cautious move again, because it's.
Would it be easier for that rule if you would normally be able to draw a line of fire regardless of facing, then you can attack back. If an enemy attacks you, it's very like, what if 6th Sense level 2 just granted you when responding to enemy attacks 360 visor?
Oh, that's true. That kind of sounds good.
Seems simpler. It's a good way to think about it, though. Mm-hmm. But only if you are the one being attacked. Mm-hmm. If we're all in a fire team, me, you, and Sam, and Nathan, and Dactyl, right? And Dactyl gets shot a lot. You can't, like, from behind you can't fire back. But Dactyl could. Mm-hmm. Anyway, just 3 seems like a simpler way. I don't know. Didn't mean to think on the fly. Please continue with your thought.
It's all good. No, one of the other cons was the fact that if you do want to take those hackers, you do have to be very mindful of your positioning if you want to actually beef up your remotes. So I would only really take them if you're rocking the aggressive units on that. They're only armor 1. Like I said, with the double levels of unconscious, if you can keep a slave drone nearby, then you could probably help them out in that sense. But they are like you get 1 crit and it's they're gone. Because they're only most of them are only 1 wound or structure 1, but the arm 1 can hurt at certain times. Do you see any other what else would you think, Tom, con wise?
For Unidrons?
Yeah.
I mean, they're armor 1, and they can't cautious move, and they can't dodge good, not at all. They're only ballistic skill 11, but their minimum points are 14. 14 points is a lot for a ballistic 11 troop, right? So they're expensive for how quote-unquote bad they are at things. But then there's all the hidden goodness, like the dogged, like the shock immunity, or immunity to the death effect of viral. Yeah. Which is not shock, folks.
The availability of plasma, I like.
A lot of plasma. Yeah. They have G Auto Tool, which would be really cool if anything in the faction had mnemonica.
Yeah.
But anyway. So, did you cover Rodox or just Unidrons?
That was just Unidrons. I was moving on to Rodox.
Right
next. The thing about the Rodox.
So it should be, it should be mentioned. Like, it's cool to be able to get Legat in there with the Spitfire, burst 5 Spitfire.
Yeah. With a pretty decent ballistic skill.
So, and mimetism. Mm-hmm. Right? So you can, because I was saying, no, leave everything separate so it doesn't activate when you hack. Mm-hmm. No, you can definitely get some cool combinations using the leader as the aggressive piece. Mm-hmm. And moving them up the field. So, anyway.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I liked that before I move on to the Rodox, they had the Umbra, Legat, and Nexus. Because if you wanted to take that Nexus Specialist Hacker, because, some missions get plus to hacking, because the only other thing you can do is forward observe. So in that unit, you can forward observe, you can data scan, you can telemetry, you can HV, designate with more than just forward observers. You can do it out of line of fire with the spotlight programs, So it kind of makes it more versatile. And you do that with the Nexus and still take the Spitfire Legat, being able to be that highly aggressive shot master, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that. Now with the Rodox, right off the bat, one of their best benefits is their better ballistic skill by 1. They're up 1 arm, but they have mimetism. So now you pop up either Umbra, and I don't think that the Samaritan doesn't have mimetism. I was thinking super jump on him. I'm an idiot. But if you're on with the Legat, then your whole fire team has mimetism, which right away is shifting, like what we say, mods in your favor. Mm-hmm. So running with that is really cool, but then your Legat doesn't have super jump, so that can be a bit of a downside. With your Legat, it kind of sticks his forward deployment, because you kind of got to maintain your fire team coherency.
He doesn't have super jump, but he's faster than they are at 6'2".
Yeah, exactly. It says kind of slows him down with his 4 deployment, but yes, the 6 and then 2 kind of makes up for the fact that that he can't bounce around with them.
Jump around.
But I do like that you can take both paramedics and hackers. Those are helpful in missions where you get like plus to anybody or the doctor or paramedic, or plus for the hacker. But you can, in your own unit, I know it's not the most reliable, but they can go out on their own, heal themselves. They don't have to worry about Dr. Worm. So that kind of makes sense for a contact force. Mm-hmm. You know, like you have your paramedic in there to try to keep them alive as best as they can. They're at physique 12, so it's not too bad. But yeah, paramedic rolls are always scary.
Still 1 wound, but armor 2. Mm-hmm. BTS is only 3. They are not immune to shock, like the Unitrons are, and they're much slower. Mm-hmm. Unitrons can get what they're going faster. So Roadnoks are at the same time more maneuverable and less maneuverable than the Unitrons. They do have the super jump, but they are also only 4-2. So when you need to haul ass across the field and you're running out of orders, 4-4, those 2 inches keep adding up.
Yep, they do really bad.
And your basic thing is, so what's we'll do paramedic is 21, so it's 6 points more than the equivalent specialist in the Unitron link.
Yep. So that's kind of one of my cons. But Rodoks are amazing. I mean, you have lots of mines. You do have missile launcher HMGs, so you can do long range. Boarding shotguns. You have a 2 light shotgun with combi rifle option. And 2 light shotguns. That's pretty nice in Fireteam. You like 4 shots with that guy because of the you get 2 shots from the shotgun. You get +1 for being
twin weapons.
And then you add 1 for the Fireteam. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a shotgun assault pistol. that's shooting templates. That's really fun. So those guys are really, really good at getting up close. I think that I like the option of running them with either the Legat, so your whole team has mimetism, or the Samaritan, so that you can possibly do the Protheon delivery system. Like keep your Samaritan safe. Yeah,
keep him safe.
Keep him super safe. Nexus, I don't know. I think I would only run a Nexus with these if I had to shave points.
I don't think I would at all. I'd rather have the 5th Rodok.
Yeah.
4-4 movement, no super jump. Mm-hmm. Armor 1 wound, no mimetism to keep him safe. Mm-hmm. He's got hyperdynamics level 1, so he can dodge in a 14 because his physique's only an 11. So that's a bonus. But here's the thing. If you want your Rodoks shooting an ARO, this guy's better at dodging, and he's either breaking out of the link to do so, because they all have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would leave the Nexus in the backfield.
Yep.
Buffing the bots, and
I don't like him for that. It's literally to shave points. Like, hey, I get a 16-point special operative where everything else is going to be.
The thing with the Legat is, or the Samaritan, looking at the Spitfire option to take advantage of those.
Yeah.
Link team buffs. 44 points, 41 points. That's a lot, man.
It is a lot. And
the Rodok HMG is 27. The Rodok missile launcher is 28. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, they're the same,
and they're self-sufficient. They've got it, so, which is part of the background lore. They're self-sufficient. They've got a paramedic. They've got a hacker. So they've got the specialists that can go do stuff, and they've got the heavy weapons to go do stuff. They've got the mines to play board control, or if not board control, at least order wasting. So. Yeah, it's cool. Throw it in, try it out. I'm more of a fan of just straight Rodok.
Yeah.
Full 5-man Rodok link team. Now, if you're running your Rodoks up and then you're running your Samaritan and he's going to chew on people's necks, or your Legat's out there cyber masking, right, doing his thing, and a Rodok falls in battle, you can always reform that link with the 4 Rodoks and that Legat that was right there, and join him back up. So taking the 5 Rodox plus the Legato or the Samaritan is kind of like building in an extra member, even if you don't plan on starting to run them as a 5-man. Okay, so those are the core fire teams, right? Mm-hmm. Then we've got the duo. Let's get the duo out of the way. It'll be quick.
Suriats.
Yeah, Suriats can fire team duo. No Evo required.
Yeah.
And all duo does is let you move together for the single order.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you have a plan for a couple of Suriats to move up the field and do stuff, they're not specialists, so where are they going to?
Yeah, they're like serious, like just killies.
They're armor 4, 2 wound, BTS 6. They're pretty tough, right? And they're Morat, so they'll ignore your loss of lieutenant and they'll ignore your retreat. And so all that's cool. But yeah, you can take heavy rocket launcher, you can take heavy machine gun, you can take just multi-rifles. And maybe that's the thing right there is multi-rifle and a Vulcan shotgun or 2 multi-rifles and use their duo ability to get them to the center of the field at the same time. And now if you want to come to me, you got to come through these 2 super heavy armored dudes. It's almost a 30 army. And points are at a premium in Onyx, and you need stuff to do more stuff. But yeah, Fireteam Duo, you can move 2 Suriats at the same time. They can't bring a rack to rack like Morats can, so they don't get a specialist, so...
I think they're just board control. Like, it'd be good in like a quadrant control type mission where they could move up and then both go in suppression.
And then the 5-point Mudawea throw smoke in front of them, and they're like, dar.
Yeah, exactly. They're
Glad I spent 80 points on that.
Yeah. There's any of the heavy weapons are just high SWC, so they soak that up really quick. You definitely have to be strategic with them.
I think it's your only heavy rocket launcher in faction, though, so if you like big balls of fire.
Goodness gracious, big balls of Suriats.
So yeah, Suriat Duo, I guess, is a thing. Then there's Harry's. And the Harry's in Onyx is hilarious. Yeah. I think Harry's is short for hilarious. And it's a tag fire team.
Yeah, tag your freaking it.
So you get, okay, Google, you get Zeodron Batroids, 2 Zeodron Batroids plus a Suriat. I mean, plus a...
Yeah, Samaritan.
Samaritan. Yeah. Yeah, we're just talking about those dummies. Yeah, Samaritan plus 2 Zeodrons. Zeodrons are armor 5, structure 3, super jumping tags.
Right.
And they're not much more expensive than a Suriat.
No, that's exactly why we're like, because they're only like 10 to 13 points more, but you get an extra point of armor and an extra structure.
There's not a lot of
bioimmune.
Yeah, there's not a lot of options here. It's whichever flavor Samaritan you want plus 2 tags. So you get to use your whole box.
That's true.
Yeah, want a multi-rifle, want a K1 combi, want a Red Fury. It's that, and it's hilariously fun.
Yeah, super jumping. And now they're specialists because of the Staldron remote ancillary unit.
Oh, well, yeah, if you want to get out of your tag and run around and do stuff. But they can be specialists with the Samaritan being the assault hacker.
Yes, that as well.
So at least, if they come up to assault hack your tag, you have support built in that's been moving along with them. Samaritan's a 6'2 movement with super jump, right? And the Zeodrons have super jump.
It's crazy.
And they have 4/4 super jump. So, when you do the full order super jump, you combine your 2 order values together. They can jump the same crevasse. Because 6'2 and 4/4 both equal 8, right, Nathan? And, almost always the assault hacker.
I think I would agree with that.
And then you're moving your tag support up the board with them. Your multi-rifle mows down a dude. He's laying there unconscious. Your Samaritan can go snack on him. You can use the bodies of the Zeodrons to shield your Samaritan. He's smaller. So you put your Zeodrons out, and he can run over and snack Protheana guy without getting shot. And, heck, you've got 6 wounds standing there.
Yeah.
So, that combi rifle guy's going to get a shot. Well, that could really hurt my 1 wound Samaritan if he's lucky. But it's either going to ping off the Zeodron or it's going to take 1 out of his 3 wounds. So let's make wall of Zeodron and then have your Samaritan run behind it and go like...
Yeah, let him take the free shot. Yeah.
Let him go all Bruce all over the victim.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's it's a lot of points.
Yeah.
When you add it all up together. But it's still possible to do a Zeodron Samaritan Harry's team and a Unitron full fire team of 5 and get up to 10 orders, and that's fun times.
Yeah, it's pretty. And you can with the inexpensiveness of the bats, the little batroids. Don't overlook their Blitzens either. It's basically like an EM Panzerfaust, which is really nice. I think those are overlooked. I don't see people use those a lot. Blitzens?
They're not on very many things.
Yeah, because they're EM2, which is scary.
2 dice, half BTS?
Yeah, exactly. Red Fury is kind of... The range bands are a little bit, not as effective as a Spitfire, but they have heavy pistols, so if you do get in close, but they're shock. That's shocking.
All have heavy pistols, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
now, here's the thing. What I want to say, Tom, if you're rolling with the homies, if you're running with your Samaritan and you want him to snack, do you take the Red Fury, or do you do like 1 Red Fury and then like maybe a combi or a K1? Because I would take.
You get to swap your link leader, so use as appropriate. Yeah. I'm actually a big fan of the multi-rifle.
I would agree.
Multiple applications. Burst can enter suppression fire, which I don't like, but whatever. Because you won't be able to link the whole game probably.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I really like the multi-rifle version. And you have the wounds to get there, and the mobility to get where you need to go. And let's be honest.
Okay.
As our friend Kyle used to say, let's be honest. Some of the best looking models in all of Infinity.
Oh yeah,
a lot of points. So maybe not the common wisdom would be you're not going to have enough orders or specialists to go push all the buttons and do all the things. But stupid fun.
Totally.
So that makes it worth it.
I do agree, sir. I do agree. I think the only downside I could see is just expense, honestly.
So looking at the Onyx Contact Force list, and in fact, looking at any list, here's a cool thing to do. Infinity Army allows you to sort by things like skills and equipment and weapons and all that kind of stuff. And so we always talk about it a lot on this show. Everybody talks about it. The infiltrating camo specialists. What do we have available? So you can go to the sort menu and click infiltration and see what pops up and check all your options. You can check, you can sort by who's got D charges, and it brings up everybody with D charges. So you can cover all your classifieds. What kind of forward observers do I have? What kind of hackers do I have? Sorted by hacking device, or select all the hacking devices and see them all at once, because you can click the box and select multiple things. It's really cool on Infinity Army. Let's see who's got smoke grenades, right? Who's got chain of command, anything else that you deem important. Forward observers, doctors, engineers, right? To do classifieds. And get a feel for the new army that way by seeing, what's really important to me. What's really important to me are infiltrating specialists. So let's see what I've got. And if you do that with the Onyx Contact Force, you get one icon.
Yep.
And it's the Malignos. A Shazvasti troop. It's availability 2 in Onyx. Just 2. So you have a maximum of 2 infiltrating models at all, but particularly specialists. Whereas Ariadna, each one of their 19 that they have is availability 2, so you could theoretically have 38 in the middle of the table. But yeah, only Malignos. Availability 2. They are TO camouflaged.
Which is really nice.
But it's also makes them really expensive for how survivable they are. Because all the TO camo in the world doesn't matter at all against an MSV2
Nope.
model.
Shock is their scariest. They have auto med kits, but yeah, if you get shocked, then you're...
That's not regeneration that automatically grants shock immunity. Their hacker is half an SWC and 41 points. And the forward observer, the only other specialist option, is 36 points, no SWC. So if you go into a new faction, you look for infiltrating camo specialist, that's it. That's all you got. Whereas in Combined Army, your other options include the Shrouded, which are only camo, not TO camo, but they're way cheaper. 11 points cheaper for each version. Only Whip 13, not TO, but regular camo. But you save 22 points on 2 specialists, which is a whole nother model.
Exactly.
Or 3 whole other models. And and then you have Zerats who have mimetism, but are even cheaper. 5 points cheaper than their Shrouded companions.
Yeah.
And the Zerats bring decharges or mines, and the Shrouded both have mines. And so very expensive infiltrating specialists in Onyx.
Makes sense because they're supposed to be the elite. The elite of the elite.
Yeah, it sure makes sense, but doesn't make making an army list easy. And then, what else do I like? I like 80 combat jump troops. Let's search by that. Oh, we got one choice. It's Fracta. They're availability 3. All right, cool. Ooh, I'm going to need some MSV. Because people are bringing Phalanx, and they're going to have Smoke, Ariana guys. So who's got MSV2? Just the MacRep trackers. Their availability 2. Okay, so it looks like I'm not getting out of here without taking some Sigma. All right, good. Let's look for... I want a Lieutenant. I don't want him to cost any SWC. I want to... Okay, so it's either the Nexus or the Samaritan. Got it. Cool. 2 options. Let's see. Ooh, I want Smoke because I want those. I want those Malignos to get their objectives unopposed. So let's throw on some Smoke and protect our. Wait, there's no Smoke.
No smoke. Yeah, no smoke grenades.
All right. Well, my Nexus is my Lieutenant choice, and it's super obvious, and he's super crunchy. So
Would I say scrappy? That was what I want to say.
Yeah.
They're super scrappy.
They're crunchy and poppy and
and squishy all at once.
All right, so he's super poppy. So let's see. Chain of command would be good. Oh wait, don't have any of that. All right, cool. Nobody has Gina Monica, so I can't use any of that. All right, let's look for a doctor. Okay, cool. There's a doctor. Obsidian Medicanoid. Sweet. Engineer. Oh, it's Obsidian Medicanoid. His availability 1. Okay, I guess I better take him. What's another classified? Oh, D-charges. Got to see if I have D-charges. Let's see who's got it. One model. Oh, it's the Obsidian Medicanoid. That's all the same AVA-1 dude who's not very survivable, and he's big. He's on a 40 mil.
Yep. I miss when he was a little 25 mil guy.
All right, let's try forward observers. Oh, good. We got 3 of those. M-drones, Unitrons, and Malignos. All right, let's add in all these hacking devices. Oh my God, look at all the hackers.
Yeah.
1 million hackers. Okay, we are hacking. That is what we're doing.
That's
we have a million hackers. That is what we're doing. So that was my little trip through the sorting by ability. And so there are not a million flexible options. That is what a sectorial does, right? It limits your options, but gives you the benefit of the fire team and higher availability, or the joy of theme, or whatever benefit you get yourself out of playing a sectorial. So, speaking of fire teams, since we're still kind of there, wish the Rhodoks had a Harry's team.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Wish the Suriats had a Harry's option, but only if you took the availability 1 rack to rack. And somehow made him the rack to rack. You can only take the rack to rack if he's in a Harry's with the Suriats. So he can be like, yes, sir, here's your liquor, sir. May I brush your coat, sir?
That's funny.
Sir, you fire the machine gun, sir. I shall push the button on the console. Do not sully your war talon, my monkey lord. Anyway, so that's
funny.
Crazy wish listing. Do you have anything about the army then, Kip, in general, also that you want to touch on, or do you want to get into the lists?
No, we can get into the list. I mean, we pretty much covered. The other units are pretty obvious because they're in the combined army as well. You know, overdrawns. You have availability 2 of, which is nice. I like that you can do the Sphinx. That can be pretty scary when mixed with all these other things. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think they have just enough of
Sphinx is so good at rescue.
Yeah, he is.
So good at rescue.
Oh, I don't know if I said that in the Unitrons. That the one negative is don't ever take that Fireteam and rescue because they can't grab guys. The Unitrons, the remotes, yeah. That would be the only other thing that I think I forgot. So let's get in lists. Do you want to do your budget first, or should I do my budget first? Did you do a budget?
I did do a budget, but it's not as cheap as yours. Yours is much more inexpensive because you based yours just on the 300-point Onyx Contact Force Army box that Corvus Belli produces.
Yeah, I figured that would be, if you were doing budget lists, to just use that because, you know, it comes in a nice pretty box, gives you plenty of models to build and start with. And I was like, well, let's just only use that to see what it can do. And that was interesting because I had to make some difficult choices. I know they had designed it to be 300 points and you can just play, you know, ITS level mission straight out of the box. So played with it a little bit, and this is what I came up with that was my favorite somewhat of the box. So 2 groups, because there's 12 models in the box. So we have 2 combat groups. This is where everything was a little bit weird for me. Weird. So I have group 1. You're going to start off with the Rodoc fire team that we had spoke about earlier. And this is going to be joined by the Umbra Legat that's in there. So you have the Legat K1 Combi version, and I believe this was because of SWC restrictions.
Okay.
I figured this gave you
that sculpt that comes in the starter box you can use as anything. Cause it's
anything,
just,
yeah.
He's just got force hand and sword.
Yep.
So
good. So yeah, I did K1 for point and SWC purposes, and because these were just like WYSIWYG, I went straight WYSIWYG. Then you have the Rodoc HMG. You have the Rodoc with Rodoc Paramedic, because he's boarding shotgun specialist, has a med kit. The Rodoc Hacker with the EI assault hacking device. And then a Rodoc with a combi rifle and 2 light shotguns, which has this nice little symbol next to him, meaning he is your lieutenant. Definitely using everybody else as the assault group, and then kind of hide that guy because he's a little bit obvious, unless they think the Legat's your lieutenant, but it's kind of obvious that he's in there. Back that up with some order monkeys that aren't Morats, and they are, and that is 3. Count them. That's how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. 1, 2, 3. Unitron Forward Observers. I kind of like these guys because they have plasma carbines, but you can use that flash pulse in ARO if need be. It's a little bit better range at your Whip 12 compared to BS 11. So I kind of like to take those when I can. Your backup fire support, you're going to have another HMG. That's the Msrp. Imagine that. MSV level 2. But that helps out. So if you're a new player, you got the MSV 2 there. So if you're playing still phalanx, you use that guy to kind of really thin out some fire lanes for you to run up with your fire team. Helps with smoke if people are trying to smoke and run on you. So you got that there. And this was the kicker for me because it's kind of obvious because it's 10 and 2. I have the Fracta dropping in with combi rifle. But now that leaves you with 9 and 2. So it's kind of obvious they're coming in. But if you're playing with the army box, most people are going to know that. So I didn't want to try to hide it and be sneaky because putting it with the other one is going to make it extremely inhibited. You have its order to come in and then one order to do something. Kind of a waste of time. So that was kind of one of the things I was throwing up in the air. It's like, well, it's going to be obvious, but then you're making your opponent have to try to prepare for that and maybe spread people out. So you can kind of use that to your advantage. And then the group 2 is just the 2 drones. The Q drone with HMG, so 3 HMGs in this. Super heavy machine gun list. And the E drone. Now I put those there so that the E drone can throw marksman on the Q drone. I would prefer the plasma and be a lot more aggressive with it.
It also helps your Fracta land.
Helps your Fracta land, so now your Fracta is popping in on it's just 15 without doing anything special, right? So you just automatically get that physique 15, which is nice. It is another specialist that can move up into your group 10 if one of these other ones dies. Remember, they have to be died and removed from the list, not just unconscious. But you can use a command token to move that up and then eventually maybe get something close. The only thing I see is like some repeaters to really take advantage of the E-drone as a hacker.
Well, that's another thing as you look through the army list. They are pretty starved for repeaters here in Onyx. You've got your R drone and things, but you don't have anything with a deployable repeater.
No, you got to move things up.
Unless you take your hackers to the enemy, it's very difficult to get your hacking to the enemy.
And that's kind of why, like, a Fracta would be good if you want to take your hacking to the enemy. It's why the assault hackers in with the Rodox, because they're going to be moving up. But Q drone being total reaction, you only need 1 or 2 orders to maybe reposition it. But mainly keeping that E drone back there with the Q drone until it goes down, because you're going to want marksman on that thing, because it makes it way more efficient when you don't have to take the -3 for cover. So you get that, and it's mimetism, kind of skews things in your favor. So, I mean, all in all, there's definitely some things that you could change to play other missions for, but by no means is that like a bad list at all. There's plenty of fun things in there to do.
No, and what's MSRP?
Yeah, $98.
Yeah, $99.99.
Yeah, it's like $100. So yeah, that's nice.
300-point tournament army for $100. All right, so the first thing I wanted to add, because I fooled around with making a list just out of the starter box, but as we have alluded to, there's no engineer, there's no doctor, and there's no decharges. So the first thing I wanted to add was the Combined Army support box, which has the Obsidian Medconoid, Dr. Worm, affectionately known, and his nurse worms. And so that's another $30, right? And the Unitrons box, which has all the SWC weapons, the plasma sniper, the missile launcher, the K1 combi, all that good stuff for $39.50. And then once I had added those two, well, not added, because I'm really just starting with the Combined Army starter box, the $54 6-model starter.
Oh, okay, I see. So
once I had those 3 things, then I had 2 options. Both brought me to $172.50 or so. About $172 for the starter army. And that was about the cheapest I could get a list on a budget for Onyx.
For taking like what you want.
Unless you go for that $100 box. And so on the one hand, it was, do I do the Zeodron Harrys with Samaritan?
Oh, nice, yeah.
In which case I was not taking Dr. Worm and the Nurse Worms, and that leaves out a whole bunch of specialists and denies you a whole bunch of classifieds. So I didn't do that one, as fun as it would be. So instead I went for the other tag. and included the Overdrawn.
Nice.
For $50. And what do we end up with? We end up with Unitron with plasma sniper rifle. This is a fire team, Kip.
Okay.
This is a defensive fire team. Find a nice perch in your deployment zone. Find the juiciest fire lanes. Cover them. Cover one with your plasma sniper rifle, Unitron. Cover the other with your missile launcher, Unitron. And they are backed up by 4 forward observing Unitrons. But wait, you only get 3 in the box. Yeah, but the K1 dude from the support pack, he does just fine.
Yeah.
As another plasma carbine forward observer. But wait, you can only link 5 at a time, and that's 6 models. Well, the 6th one's there. He can go out and do a forward observed, classified, and you don't care if you sacrifice him because you still have your link team of 5. Or he can be held in reserve so that inevitably when one of your other Unitrons goes down, you can reform the fire team and still have a 5-man fire team because you have an extra member built in. And besides, you had the models.
Like it.
And then you have, as I mentioned, the Overdrawn with hyper-rapid magnetic cannon. Ooh. So nothing says love from the EI like a burst 5 weapon at ballistic skill. 13.
But I
used to pano tags.
I kind of like that after using it. It's kind of a little bit better than the 2 plasmas.
He comes with deflector level 1 and albedo. So your visors can't see him in the first turn, and he's harder to hack, and he's already got BTS 6. So yeah, cool. Overdrawn, go kill things with that, and use your 5 orders from your Unitron link as a battery to power your Overdrawn because you want your Unitrons there for defense in the reactive turn.
It just sounds. It's like, so what is this? What does it take to power an Overdrawn? Oh, just 5 Unitron batteries. Or 6, actually. 6 Unitron batteries to power your Overdrawn.
And then we have the right claw of the EI, the Umbra Legat Hacker.
Yeah.
Hacking device plus, mimetism, he can cyber mask, he forward deploys, all that good stuff. So, boarding shotgun on the hacker profile. So you can go do objectives, and all that, and kill some stuff. And then, as I said, the MedTech Obsidian Medconoid and a slave drone. And he is your doctor, he is your engineer. Slave drone probably hanging out near the link team, near the fire team to heal up remotes, or possibly following your Overdrawn around to keep it repaired. But yeah, decharges in case you need those. You do have 6'4" movement. You're just very large and not very powerful. And that's 9 models in there. The other one starts off the table because it is the Fracta drop troop. Just as he comes in the box, combi rifle. No frills because no SWC. And no more points. It is a 6 SWC 300-point list. And the Fracta is just, he can take advantage of poor deployment. He can jump into a zone that you need scoring.
Or walk in.
But, preferably walk in from a table edge. And so that's group 1. And then in group 2, we have 1 model. He's all by yourself. He's your obvious lieutenant. He is, and you can use either the MacRep tracker or one of the extra Unitrons to proxy as this model because it doesn't have a model yet. It is your Nexus Hacker lieutenant with an EI hacking device. His job is to be secret. Be safe.
Yeah, right.
Within 8 inches of your plasma sniper rifle and your missile launcher Unitrons, so that he can upgrade, buff either one of those as he sees fit with his lieutenant order.
Yeah, that's nice.
Or with the regular order out of group 2 if he's not doing anything else, because then they still don't know who your lieutenant is, but they know who your lieutenant is. And a lot of people see that Umbrella Got Hacker and they're like, that must be the lieutenant. But the hacker option is not a lieutenant.
No,
it just feels like it should be. So yeah, Nexus Lieutenant Hacker in the second group all by his lonesome because he's just going to buff a bot.
You know what makes that so disgusting though? When you buff those Unitrons with Marksman level 2, like don't forget guys, Marksman level 2 also includes level 1. which gives your weapon shock. That means you have a shock missile launcher.
Yeah, AP explosive shock.
Yeah.
That's awful. But here's the other thing that we haven't really spelled out in black and white, but we sort of alluded to once. Unitron plasma sniper rifle. In a link of 5 becomes ballistic skill 14. He's going to be in +3 range.
Yes.
Is a 17. If you put assisted fire on him with the Nexus Hacker, he now ignores your cover, so he's still hitting on a 17.
Yeah.
It's a plasma sniper rifle, which means it has a template. Which means for the armor roll, the subsequent armor roll and BTS roll.
Yeah, that's the scariest.
Right? At damage 14, because you're using the impact template. The BTS and armor roll will be made without the benefit of cover because you're using the template, which does not allow you to add the cover bonus. So you're ignoring the cover to hit. You're ignoring the cover for damage. You can potentially strike several targets at once. And you're hitting on 17s because you ignore cover.
And it is now shock as well.
And then it's shock.
Yeah. So scary.
Super ugly. Super ugly.
I would agree.
And that is why they're in every list I make. Over the Rodoc fire team. I love my Rodocs. I'm going to use them all the time in More Aggression Force. But the ballistic skill 14 Unitron plasma sniper, that's too hard to pass up.
No, I agree. It's pretty nuts. So on to the money is not an object list. One that we are going to just take whatever we want because it sounds fun. I was, again, playing around doing because I had never really played around with the Nexus, Umbra, Unitron, which I really like because it's a lot of plasma. You can, use the Umbra that's not your lieutenant as your aggressor. So that's how, this is only 10 orders. Really good limited insertion list. So,
Okay.
only 10 orders. We're going to start off with the Nexus Lieutenant Hacker. Going to be your lieutenant. Only option I could do with the way I wanted to throw this out there. So he's going to be there to be a specialist. Not really wanting to go crazy hacking against people unless I have to, because you don't want him to die because then you have lost lieutenant. So in there as a specialist, can buff a bot if needed later on, as long as all of them are out of line of fire. But his main purpose is to be a hacker specialist running around with his Umbra Legat homeboy with Spitfire. So that one's probably going to be, that one's going to be the hard hitting. You guys are my support. Give me my 5 burst. He's going to be backed up with 3 Unitrons with plasma carbines, one of which is the Forward Observer. I just realized after looking at the price, I could actually bump one more up to be a Forward Observer. So 2.
Oh, yeah, $2.99?
Yeah, I just realized that right now. Totally forgot to add that before I printed off the list. So 2 Forward Observers, so you get 2 more specialists, and then just a regular old Joe. So that's going to be your main core fire team. Now, what is backing them up? We have a Malignos Hacker. So throw the little bit of TO camo out there. But then you're like, well, now you only have 9 orders on the table. If you want to hidden deploy, you can, because you'll throw out a nice Silhouette 6 camo token in the Sphinx. So seeing a Sphinx out there, the Umbra, fire team, and the rest of this, maybe you could hide your Malignos, but throwing out a regular marker to keep the order is probably how I'd run it. But yeah, Malignos Hacker, then the Sphinx with Spitfire. Those 2 units really good at already being up in the field, going into suppression fire where you need them, before having your Umbra Legate and crew come up and hold down the center or the flank, wherever is best position for them. Then their backup on that other end is going to be Dr. Worm with a slave drone, because that's the only doctor and engineer.
Because necessary.
Yeah. And then the ramp.
This is necessary.
Yeah. Then to round it off, this was mainly just for orders, but also flank protection and the fact that they're a repeater if they need to move into a certain area. And it's 2 Icadrons. So 2 Icadrons, Dr. Worm with Slave Drone, a Sphinx who can also now be a special operative if he needs to go out and push a button and run back and jump into his little body. Syndrome. Yeah, Syndrome, go. I steal. I steal the box. And I run back. Then the Malignos Hacker. Again, I probably wouldn't do hidden deployment unless I was going second.
Hello, Crabbot. Where is your knife? I got your knife.
Yeah. The only way I would start these guys in hidden deployment is probably if I know I'm going second, because then it's surefire way of them not knowing where to run up with a sensor and not knowing where they're going to be, and then you can actually start moving and they go, oh. So having both of them would be nice. And then rounding out that fire team with the Unitrons, Umbra, and the Nexus Hacker Lieutenant, which you're going to have to be super careful with. So I said I wouldn't play this as a beginner list, because that you're going to be real careful, because you're known. Well, it could be the Umbra.
Put in dumpster, prone.
Very true. Very true. I mean, it's kind of hide the Lieutenant, because you're like, is it the Hacker? Is it the Spitfire? Because you can do the Spitfire Lieutenant. Is it the Hacker? Is it the Spitfire? Ooh, who knows?
So when you hide your Hacker, everybody knows it's... Anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a nice, tight, compact list. I love the Sphinx-centric list. It's always a terrifying model.
Yeah.
To go up against. My money is no object, right? My list not on a budget. Mm-hmm. Oh, do you know what yours came to? Like, did you cost yours out?
Oh, yeah, it's... oh, no, I didn't actually cost it out.
Okay.
I thought you meant like points. It's 304.5 SWC.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, other cost.
Yeah. So my no budget restriction list is $238.
Okay.
At MSRP.
Okay.
Rounding off. And it is 6 SWC and 300, what do you call them? Points. And so Combat Group 1, 10 models. Mm-hmm. You have a Q drone with plasma rifle.
Ah, I love that one.
He is my hunter.
Yep, I like that a lot.
He is going to be buffed by a hacker later on, and he's going to get assisted fire, and he's going to run around, and he's going to kill dudes with plasma, and he is not going to be an HMG that sits up in a building and can only find one fire lane. No, he's going to be on ground level. He's going to go find targets. He's not going to wait for them to walk in front of him. He's going to be aggressive and go get them. Q drone. Rawr. Then there are 2 Malignos forward observers.
Ew.
Now, I know you made that noise because the model is terrible, but you can certainly proxy the Shazvasti Spec Ops, who I like quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Like the Spec Ops model quite a bit. And Malignos, forward observers, both of them. Because need to save the SWC for elsewhere, so there's no assault hacker there. They're both forward observers. They're both infiltrating TO camo models, and they have anti-personnel mines. So don't forget about jamming up the middle of the field. Also, I'm going to deploy the Malignos as TO camo markers. I am not going to deploy them in hidden deployment. I want them... I don't want to start with 8 orders, or 6 if I'm going first. I want to start with my full complement. So I want them all on the table to generate the orders when the turn starts. And I also want my opponent to know that there are 10 models in this group.
Very good point.
Next up is the Nexus Hacker. He's your lieutenant. And he is going to buff the Q drone. And so you can place, if there's a convenient building that he can hide inside, where the Q drone can start back and get buffed and then move out and shoot some stuff, and it's still within 8 inches, so he can get buffed again before he runs off. You might be able to get 2 good buffed turns out of that. Anyway, so Nexus Hacker. Boom. That's what he's there for. And he's your lieutenant. Then we have Dr. Worm, MedTech Obsidian Medcanoid. He's the doctor, he's the engineer. He's got the only D charges, and he brought a slave drone with him. And yeah, so he's there to do objectives, and his slave drone's there to fix the link team, which we'll get to in a minute. Also in this group are 2 Icadron Batroids. Yeah, sure, they're 9-point baggage bots, so they're worth 29 in scoring zones. That's cool. But yeah, sure, they also have 2 light flamethrowers. And yeah, sure, they also have a flash pulse. But don't forget their pistol.
Oh, that's true, right?
So flash pulse is cool. Like, okay, they're outside of flamethrower range. I can flash pulse them and blind them, but really I need them dead. I don't need them blinded. Pistol, long shot, sure, but the tool is there to be used. And they're repeaters.
Yeah, it's nice.
For your hiding, cowardly Nexus hacker. I really like. So I hope the model is like kneeling down on one knee, like hacking on his wrist comm log or whatever would be pretty cool. But yeah, something that's crouching so you can fit it inside any building or terrain piece. Fine. Yeah, can't wait to see the Nexus. Anyway, the Nexus coward. Yeah. So Icadron, right? Good stuff. Then because combined army and expensive. Imatron.
Nice.
They are the 4-point AI beacons that you are allowed to take 2 of. And then rounding out Group 1, the 10th model in the group is the R drone, which is the pirate remote.
I was just saying Black Sails remote.
So R drone is just a repeater with mimetism, 6/6 movement. So if you want to get your hacking out there, you can, but I don't know if you want to risk your lieutenant like that despite the firewall. But it is an 8-point order. So there are, 5 really cheap orders to fuel your 2 Malignos to go get objectives and to fuel your hunting Q drone that's going to go kill stuff.
And you said you were deploying them on the table in marker state. Correct?
As markers, correct. Not in hidden deployment, but as markers. So there are now 10 models on the table. There's actually 11. One's a slave drone. But there's a complete order group of 10 models. Now in Group 2, you have your fire team, your defensive fire team of Unitrons. And this is the Kip style fire team that likes to find a perch, not move anywhere, just have high burst and do all the AROs and make your opponent spend a bunch of orders trying to deal with it, slicing pies and trying to take it out. And it is very similar to the previous one. It is a plasma sniper Unitron, a missile launcher Unitron, and then 1 forward observing plasma carbine Unitron, along with 2 other regular Joe plasma carbine Unitrons. And so that's your fire team of 5. And yeah, go ARO stuff. And then they see your group of 10 is completely filled out. And then they see your fire team in the second group, and they're like, oh, so we just put the fire team in the second combat group. There's 10 models in the first group. 15 is a lot of models for combined army. That's gotta be everything. So they will never expect the 6th model in Group 2, which is a Nocta for missile launcher.
Yeah, those things are nasty. I've had them ruin my day once.
So maybe there's, an enemy tag that is set up, and he's got to come down this one street. So you put out your Icadron Batroid with its flash pulse, somewhere where it can ARO down that street. And so the tag comes out. He's like, well, it's got a pistol, 2 light flamethrowers, and a flash pulse. I got a high BTS. It's probably not going to blind me. I'm going to light it up with my machine gun and get rid of it, and then go on down this otherwise unguarded flank to go kill stuff. And so you pop that tag around the corner. You go to deal with the Icadron, and the Icadron AROs with flash pulse. And then right behind the Icadron, about 3 inches away so you don't get caught in the blast, if there's a large blast weapon headed your way, from hidden deployment is your Nocta for missile launcher that reveals out of nowhere and shoots that missile at that tag that wasn't expecting it. Now is he going to split burst? You'll probably just take the flash pulse and be okay with that, and then put all 4 into the newly discovered Noctifer, who's going to be at Maybe +3, maybe -3 range, but definitely in cover at -3, definitely TO at -6, definitely surprise shot at -3. Oh, well, you're reacting.
Yeah, you're reacting. No.
Darn. But yeah, so, -9, possibly -12 if your missile launcher's outranging the HMG headed your way. So, yeah, good times. Good times. They don't even know it's there. They figure the link team's your whole thing. Right.
I like that. That's pretty sneaky.
So when I did the list, and I was thinking about how I was going to use all the stuff and the plans for it and whatnot, I sent Kip a text that said, darn it, now I want to play this 16-order Onyx list. Man. All right, so Onyx, I reckon, is fun. If I'm being honest, I do enjoy playing Vanilla Combined more.
I haven't played Onyx like ever, and I want to now so that I can actually make the comparison and not just theofinity it.
Link teams are cool, but it doesn't have the variety and options that Vanilla has. I don't have that alpha striking speculo killer.
Yeah,
that can take out problem areas before the game even begins. Really,
it's true.
At the top of one, or it doesn't have the number of midfield specialists that I would like. It doesn't have smoke throwers, which I can get in Data Razi or Osnat or what's her name? Anyat. Whatever. So it doesn't have some of the tools that I want. It doesn't have the diversity. It doesn't have anathematics. Yeah. So I do like Vanilla, but they're definitely hard to deal with.
I don't know, man. That Burst 3 BS17 Unitron is pretty nice, rather than having a Burst 2 14 BS Unitron. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not taking Unitrons and regular combined usually.
I do because of the cheapness, but
they are inexpensive. Get what you pay for. So, yeah, in fact, not linked. I don't think you get what you pay for.
Not really.
Their strength really comes in the Fireteam bonuses, I believe. But still, super hard to deal with if you've got a Burst 5 tag on one side and that scary Link Team of Doom on the other side. You're facing Overdrawn and Unitron links, and oh god, what do I do?
Yeah.
So it can be a lot of fun to play, really scary to face. And I hope you all go out and buy yourself an Onyx Force and start playing with it, because they're some of the best models in the range, and they're super fun to play.
Conversation can serve no purpose anymore. Goodbye.
Well, Kippers, that's going to do it for another episode of MayaCast, the Onyx Contact Force episode, Hooked on Onyx. Or,
so good.
Actually, it could be Hooked on Onyx.
I like that. Hooked on Onyx.
So here's the thing, people. This is the point of the show where we normally do the Infinity events happening around the world, or maybe we'll do it at the beginning of the show, or maybe we'll do it whenever, we don't know. But there are a lot of them, and a lot of them submit early, so it's very repetitive over and over. So we have decided that while we think the service is very valuable,
yes,
where we announce the Infinity events that are happening, we are going to announce each event one time. Not week after week after week. We will announce now maybe things like the Rumble on Route 66, we'll mention more than once, right? But we're going to announce each one time, and then after it's been announced, it will remain on our episode posts and in the show notes, so that people can browse the show notes and find links to events that are happening. But we are not going to take up a whole bunch of time reading them all over and over and over again. So each one will get one reading, and I think I know which ones are the new ones, and so We've got 3 new ones, but we'll keep all of them on the website, all of them in the show notes, so that you can check them out there. But yeah, like I said, every time there's a new one, we'll announce it one time, and then it will stay in the show notes until it has passed and goes away.
Yeah, so starting these new events on June 10th, we have the return of the Humble Rumble at Fat Ogre Games in Houston, Texas. This is a 300-point with 12-point Spec Ops, playing Firefight, Supremacy, and Supplies. There is space for up to 18 players, and the cost to get in is a crisp 10.
And like I said, I think these are the ones we haven't read. If we've already read them, there's only 3, so deal with it. We don't need corrections unless we've never read yours and skipped it. Then let us know. On June 23rd and the 24th, it's the Salt Lake Showdown at Broadview Entertainment Arts University in Salt Lake City, Utah. Friday night is single-round decapitation showdown events, limited insertion, 300 points. Saturday is a 300-point ITS with Deadly Dance, Antenna Field, Highly Classified, and Firefight. 32-person capacity. $35 entry includes a shirt, a patch, and other goodies. Visit Salt Lake Showdown on Facebook for more info. #sorry for Randon.
Also on June 24th, we have an ITS event at the Stardust Series at Pacific Fleet Club Esquimalt. Does that say Esquimalt? Yeah, in Victoria, British Columbia, which is in Canada, Frozen Land. This is a charity event for the Victoria Women's Transition House Society. That's awesome. So I would definitely say if you're in the area, you like Infinity, go play this because this is an incredibly cool cause. It's going to be a crisp 2 10s, so 20 Canadians. That's dollars, not people. Entry with a raffle at the door.
Well, it's not the whole country. Come on.
And door prizes, as well as prizes for first, second, and last place. Love when people do that. You'll be playing Transmission Matrix, The Deadly Dance of the Tags, and Cold Sleep.
Sometimes you talk funny.
I know. It's what I do. It's called Kipping It Up.
So, now, going forward, if you send in an event, we'll read it the one time and then stick it in the show notes for you for posterity.
So we can remind people, like we're going to remind if you haven't seen the events or heard the events around the world. Please
sure. So please make sure to check all the events that are posted on MayaCast.com.
Yes.
And in the show notes and stuff. So once again, thank you to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/MayaCast. If you'd like to help support the show and keep us going and keep us commercial free, why don't you head on over to patreon.com/MayaCast and see what you can do to help if you can. If not, that's cool too. We love all of our listeners.
Agreed. Since we do love you guys, you should come and interact with us on the Facebook, and that is going to be facebook.com/InfinityMayaCast, where you can join the closed Facebook group, if not already, and post your own stuff to our wall and interact with all the other listeners and Infinity freaks around the world, and that is freaks in a good way.
Our website, where you can view all the show notes and all the events and all the patrons and all that good stuff, is MayaCast.com, and you can reach us at Tom@MayaCast.com
and Kip@MayaCast.com.
And we can also be found on Twitter. We are at MayaPodcast.
That always makes me laugh for some reason. Like at MayaPodcast, chirp me. I don't know why.
I don't know either. Are you done?
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll be coming back at you in 1 week's time. And in the meantime, make sure you get out there and support your local game stores.